Hi folks, this is your MWIS Fleeting View in association with Petzl. There are changes developing in the weather pattern in the days ahead, but we will keep snow on the ground extensively and frozen terrain into the weekend as the milder air is only slowly filtering its way in from the west. But we will be looking at a period of thaw onwards from Sunday into next week as temperatures are generally above freezing over the mountains and stronger winds as well, with some rain in that forecast too. In the short term at least, we are still in deeply wintry conditions with bitterly cold temperatures in the valleys on Friday morning could well be down below -10 to -15 extensively across the highlands, and that will stay very cold all day, barely scraping up towards freezing point across most of the country. The mountains stay frozen, snow cover extensive, and it's a fine day with sparkling sunshine for many. Gusty winds around a few spots near to western regions, particularly Wales, that wind a bit stronger overall. There's some high cloud just expanding in associated with a weak front away toward the southwest, and in the far southwest of Wales just enough for a few snow flurries, possibly. One or two local snow flurries could just drift into northeast Scotland too on the light breeze here. That front out toward the west will just make some slow progress northwards, but a very weak feature on Saturday. It's the beginning of a change arriving from the Atlantic, but for Saturday daytime, not having too much impact on most places. A zone of cloud which could cloak some of those western mountains to lower elevations. Inland, there'll be some banks of fog and perhaps a few patches of low cloud drifting around some of the corries, which could persist all day. A few spots may even just poke out above cloud banks, and best chance of sunshine overall toward the northeast of the highlands. Mostly light winds, but just tending to strengthen across more western regions especially, and quite gusty around Skye and the west coast, increasingly so as the day goes on. Terrain stays frozen, air temperature stays sub-zero pretty much from lower elevations upwards, just starting to get a bit higher though. Temperatures, particularly near the west coast, may just go slightly above freezing to some higher elevations. Into Sunday, and we see the southwesterly wind strengthening further, reaching gale force widely over the Scottish mountains and getting to severe gales and rather turbulent gusty conditions across more northwestern mountains in particular. The warm front out toward the west is pushing ever milder air in from the Atlantic. Now initially, temperatures may start off near to freezing point on the mountains and indeed around some lower slopes as well, with potential for frost across England and East Wales. But with time, the air temperature will be above freezing and lifting a few degrees above freezing to most higher tops as the day is progressing. So a gradual thaw commencing, but essentially the snow cover and the frozen ground is going to be in place throughout the day. We'll see some variable amounts of cloud and some fog banks clinging to some lower slopes. For the highlands, the cloud will just drift up and over some of the mountain tops, so rolling across higher terrain, with best of cloud breaks typically toward the north and northeast of the Cairngorms. Out toward the west, some patchy drizzly rain coming in, not too much away from the west coast, a few snow flurries even in the colder air mass that still exists. For England and Wales, broadly dry with some low cloud, mostly near to western coastal hills. Mild southwesterlies prevail into the start of next week and a more rapid ongoing thaw through into Monday. Some rain in western Scotland, and that may just push further south and eastwards with time. Not very much really amounting across England and Wales, but low cloud will cover the western hills pretty extensively, and the wind will be gale force widely, even severe gales across many higher mountains. Temperatures on higher Scottish mountains may just drift back close to freezing point late Monday into Tuesday as that front wriggles around to the north of Scotland, but overall the milder southwesterly air is winning, and that will sweep in and continue for the rest of the week. So overall an ongoing period of thaw, not too much in terms of precipitation, small amounts of patchy rain or drizzle near to some western coastal hills with a lot of low cloud often in the forecast, but rather wet underfoot as that snow just continues to melt across the mountains. It will stay in place across higher terrain but become increasingly patchy. It stays windy across Scotland in particular. High pressure building further south though will mean lighter winds for England and Wales, and that high just tending to expand further north. So over England and Wales in particular, the greater scope for some fog and even inversion conditions as the week goes on. The main question we have in the forecast through next week is just how far north that high will expand. Some indications drag it further across Scotland, which would settle things down a bit more widely. many suggestions just keep that general southwesterly flow going across the Highlands, so often staying windier, particularly towards the northwest. The general outlook further ahead looks to be a changeable west by southwesterly Atlantic regime that's in, so relatively mild, but further onwards into the final third of January, possibly some cycles of freeze and thaw as the air masses fluctuate over the North Atlantic, but a more unsettled trend and frequently windy in that outlook. Enjoy the wintry conditions over the next day or so if you can. That is your Fleeting View in association with Petzl. Thanks for watching.